Break the wheel. Make it stop.
Hello again, gentle viewers, and welcome once again to another episode of The Broken Wheel. In this episode, I'll be going over episode 7 of season 1, titled The Dark Along the Ways. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so to help the channel grow. But with all that said, let our journey begin again. The episode starts with one of my favorite scenes, that of an Aiel woman dishing out the pain. You can tell that she is Aiel by the short spears she's armed with, and that she is wearing a black veil. She is obviously pregnant and in the middle of a battle. Though we are not specifically told in the episode, this is the Battle of the Shining Wall, also known as the Battle of the Bloody Snow to those who were there. This was the climax of the Aiel War that took place outside of Tar Valon, hence why we see this scene is taking place on the slopes of Dragon Mount. This woman's name is never mentioned in the episode, but the Amazon X-ray feature has her name as Tigraine Montier. I'll go more into her in a later video, but for now, know that she was a noblewoman from the Westlands that crossed into the Aiel Waste. She later joined the Aiel all-female warrior society Fal Dara, the Maidens of the Spear. Tigraine is obviously in labor and is seeking a safe place to give birth. However, she is attacked by these men who are from Ilion, from the 9 Bs on their armor. They get a deadly lesson in how formidable even a single Aiel warrior can be. The choreography in this fight is superbly shot due to the innovative camera technology used, though I'm more impressed that she's so nimble while pregnant. In spite of being a total bamf, one of the soldiers gives her a fatal wound in the side and Tigraine collapses, desperate to give birth before she dies. It's then that we see that an Ilioner soldier now has her at sword point with a familiar-looking sword. So we come back to where we left everyone, with Matt not following into the ways. All the Two Rivers people want Moraine to reopen the way gate, especially Ran. However, Moraine says that isn't possible and time is too short. Loial then tells everyone that using the one power in the ways will attract Machin Shin, the Black Wind, a creature that will not only kill them but consume their souls as well. Panning out, we see that the ways are made of stone pathways in this realm of darkness. We occasionally see and hear lightning and thunder coming from an unseen sky. Loial explains that the ways were once full of warm light and soft green paths, making their use to travel between steadings safe and pleasant, but that changed over the centuries with the coming of the Black Wind. Unexpectedly, Perrin is able to spot the first guiding stone on their path off in the darkness, much to the surprise of everyone who couldn't make it out at all. When Loial examines it to determine their way forward, he's shocked to find it has been defaced. Lan suspects that whoever did this is following them. Everyone rests while Loial works on translating the damaged guiding stone. Egwene wakes up and hears a faint but familiar whistling. A Trolloc jumps out at Egwene and it is sent flying over the edge with the one power. Realizing that Trollocs have gained access to the ways, we learn that this is how Shadowspawn have been able to travel outside of the Blight without being detected. It's also likely they were the ones that damaged the guiding stones. Knowing that Machin Shin will be coming, Lan asks Loial to lead them to the closer way gate at Fal Dara, a city close to the Great Blight in the Kingdom of Shinar. Moraine tells everyone to ignore whatever Machin Shin says to them. As they hurry away, we catch a brief glimpse of Padan Fain in the darkness. As Moraine works to open the way gate, the Black Wind assails everyone in what can only be described as a cloud of insects. Everyone is assailed by a distorted version of their own voice, chipping away at them with fears and doubts. Once again, Nynaeve unleashes a massive wave of the One Power, triggered by her desperation to save the people she cares about. A bubble of light forms, pushing back Machin Shin and protecting everyone so they can exit the ways. Panning around the city of Fal Dara, we can see that it is constructed with defense in mind, with its high walls and battlements. In the distance, we see a narrow pass through the mountains blocked by a wall. This is Tarwin's Gap, a pass through the Mountains of Doom that marks the southern border of the Great Blight. As such, it has been the site of many Trolloc attacks. We see many statues of a wing-spread hawk along the walls, for this is the sigil of the Kingdom of Shinar. The party is greeted by a character named Lord Yakoda. This seems to be a TV series character, for I don't remember him in the book series. Yakoda addresses Lan as Daishan, which will be important for later. Lan is also warmly greeted by this man with the eye patch named Uno, implying they are old friends. While Uno greatly respects Lan in the book series, I don't believe they were ever friends, though they share a common standoffish demeanor, except that Uno swears more. A lot more. We can see the soldiers follow a warrior tradition of shaving their heads except for a top knot. This reminds me of the Danish Viking tradition in the 11th century, though much of their armor and clothes looks to have a more Chinese influence. When they enter the throne room of the Lord of Fal Dara, Moraine receives a warm smile from Lady Amalisa, the Lord's sister. Lord Agelmar, however, is less welcoming by deliberately not acknowledging Moraine's presence for a short time. This is a big deviation from the book series, for Agelmar would never dare make any Aes Sedai wait. He shows further disrespect by interrupting Moraine when she tries to speak and showing very little courtesy. We find out that Agelmar thinks that Moraine is there to assist in Fal Dara's defense against the Blight when it is not asked for, showing his wounded pride that his ability to defend his city, which his family has done for generations, is being questioned. It's also worth noting that Agelmar is the commander of the Shienaran armies as a whole and is regarded as one of the greatest generals in the Westlands. We can also see these banners with 3 red foxes, which is Agelmar Jagad's family sigil. Moraine then brings Agelmar to reality by informing him that Trollocs are using the Ways and that he should consider wallowing up the Waygate near Fal Dara. She doesn't bring up destroying it, for the Waygates are indestructible, even with the One Power. While Yakoda leaves to see the task done, we see Padden Fane casually stroll out of the Waygate towards Fal Dara. As Lady Amalisa personally escorts Moraine to her chambers, we see her use the One Power to light candles, showing that she can channel, and was even given a great serpent ring. However, it has no gem indicating an Aja, showing that she was not strong enough to become an Aes Sedai. Moraine mentions that she wants to see Min, whom Amalisa calls the Seer. In hushed tones, Moraine asks Amalisa to send a message to the White Tower to look for Mat. When Amalisa asks whom in the White Tower the message should go to, Moraine responds,
"The Red Aja."
As everyone walks through the streets of the city, they are still shaken by what they heard from Much and Shin, especially Rand. Perrin spots Padden Fane for a moment, but quickly loses him in the crowd. When he tells Nynaeve, we learn that everyone believes Padden Fane died in Beltane in the first episode. The party enters a tavern, and we meet the character Min that was mentioned previously. While everyone calls her Min, her full name is Elmindreda Farshaw. Min has the ability to see people's auras in the form of images, giving insight into their future, good and bad. Moraine wants to see if Min can tell which of the Two Rivers folk is the Dragon Reborn. During the conversation, we learn that Min's ability is a secret known only to the Aes Sedai. Moraine uses this to make Min do as she asks. Min reluctantly complies and starts with Perrin. She sees him with yellow eyes and blood on his chin. Rand is holding a baby. We don't see anything with Egwene and Nynaeve, but Min says,
"White flame and a ring of gold."
Moraine presses Min for more information, but Min has none to give, only that the 4 of them are connected and that the visions are rather clear, meaning that they are closely connected to the pattern. Moraine then realizes that Min has seen something for her as well. All Min can say is,
"I see the Amerlin's seat and she's wearing full regalia and she's going to be your downfall."
In the evening, Moraine tells everyone that they will leave in the morning for the Eye of the World. Rand asks about Min, but Moraine evades the question at first. She then explains what Min can do, and that she was hoping to find the Dragon Reborn so that she can prevent the others from dying. Nynaeve tells Moraine that they will each make their own choice about whether to go to the Eye of the World or not. Moraine is not happy about this, but has no other choice. While the 4 of them debate on what should be done, some ugly truths find their way to the surface. Nynaeve criticizes Egwene for blindly following whatever Moiraine says. Egwene points out that if it wasn't Moraine's idea, Nynaeve would be the first to say they had to go and that she is letting her pride get in the way. Perrin makes the point that if Mat is the dragon, then they're all throwing their lives away. Egwene scoffs at the idea, which angers Rand. We get the impression this is an old argument between them, for Rand claims Egwene has never liked Mat and doesn't understand how hard Mat's life has been. Egwene counters that Man was the one that left the group, with Rand pointing out that she's the one that wants to leave and become an Aes Sedai. Perrin immediately comes to Egwene's defense, causing Nynaeve to chastise both of them for always competing over her. Everyone is silenced by the accusation, and Rand points out that Perrin proposed to Layla the day that Egwene and him started their relationship. Perrin is visibly angered by this, a rare thing for him. I think Rand realizes this and decides to back off, knowing he's gone too far. The four of them leave separately, leaving their relationships uncertain. We also see Nynaeve fidgeting with her braid, which is a habit of hers from the book series, which is a nice detail. Perrin having feelings for Egwene is brought up in the first book by a character that we won't see until the second season. This seems to be a minor point in Perrin's story, for he would never act on these feelings due to his friendship with Rand. I would hesitate to say Perrin loves Egwene, for he later clumsily confesses to Min that he has feelings for her, which she does not share. I do think we'll see a bit more of this in Season 2 when Perrin meets Elias. Lan comes to see Moiraine, sensing that something is weighing on her. Moiraine dismisses it as nostalgia, for it was in the borderlands that the two of them met. She confesses that she feels that she has taken Lan's life away, implying that if she had not bonded him, he could have had a wife and family. Lan rebukes this and assures Moiraine,
"Before you, I had nothing to live for, and nothing to die for. You have given me both."
Moiraine reminds Lan that there are people he should see before they leave, and gives somewhat of an approval of his feelings for Nynaeve. So again we see Nynaeve being a snoop as she follows Lan through the streets of Fal Dara. It's almost a childlike thing for her to do, following around a boy she likes. Lan enters a house and is warmly greeted by the family inside. Nynaeve looks inside and sees a happy, friendly side of Lan that she's never seen before. As she turns away, Lan surprises her, showing that he knew she was following all along. Obviously embarrassed, Nynaeve nevertheless accepts Lan's invitation to join them for dinner. The family is obviously from Malkir, like Lan, for the husband has the same leather band across his forehead. The wife has a red dot on her forehead, a Malkir custom to show that she is married. I'm guessing this is derived from the Hindu marriage tradition of wearing a red bindi, though it's not only married women that wear bindis. Amazon has the elderly man's character name as Zahir, and I believe this is a character from the prologue book New Spring. For in New Spring, Lan has an old companion from Malkir with him that carried Lan out of Malkir when the kingdom fell to the Dark One. One of only 5 that survived the flight from Malkir out of the original 20. However, that character died in the New Spring, and I can't remember what his name was. The family seems very pleased that Lan has invited a woman that is not an Aes Sedai, obviously feeling that the two of them are involved, or at least hoping they are. Zahir even personally thanks Nynaeve for taking care of Lan, also calling him Daishan. Being the gentleman that he is, Lan escorts Nynaeve as far as his room. I imagine he doesn't escort her back to her room, for in Fal Dara, men do not enter the woman's chambers with a sword unless there is an attack. Regardless, there is an undeniable tension as they both want the night to continue, but know they shouldn't. Nynaeve nevertheless enters Lan's room, and we see the many scars Lan has accumulated over his lifetime. And the fact for a guy in his 40s, he is jacked. I don't think I have to tell you where this goes. Rand is practicing his bowmanship in an effort to focus himself, but it's not quite there. Tam actually taught Rand how to shoot and a technique to help him focus on the target. Rand uses this technique quite often in the book series. Egwene joins him and the two make up, with Rand telling Egwene that she should go to Tar Valon and become an Aes Sedai. Nynaeve seems ready to sneak out of Lan's room when he awakens and asks her to stay. She asks about Zahir and people calling him Daishan. Lan explains that Daishan is a title given to future kings of Malkir and that Zahir was one of his family's armsmen that brought him to Shinar as a child. Daishan translates to Battle Lord in the Old Tongue, though it's unclear in the book series if this is given to all kings of Malkir. We do know that Lan's parents performed the ceremony to name him Daishan as a baby before they died. But the takeaway from this is that Lan is a king of Malkir, though he's a king without a country. As Rand lies awake next to Egwene, he thinks back on the night the Trollocs attacked his home. We see more of what happened as Rand carries his father to the village. In his fevered state, Tam talks about how he found Rand as a baby and is not his biological father. We also look back at past times where Rand has been using the One Power. Rand then goes to see Min to find out what she knows. Min mentions she is from Tar Valon, but in the book series she's from Berlon. She goes on to tell Rand about her first vision, and we go back to the beginning of the episode with Tigraine at sword point. The man puts the sword down and takes off his helmet, revealing that this is a younger Tam Althor. He extends his arms out in aid and helps Tigraine deliver her baby before she dies of her wounds, confirming that this baby is Rand and that Tigraine was his mother. Min tells Rand that she had a vision of Tam and recounts the details of it that match Rand's life in the Two Rivers. Rand asks what she sees about him now, and Min tries to deflect, for she seems to like Rand and doesn't want to give him bad news. In this, she mentions 3 beautiful women for him. In the book series, Rand does fall in love with 3 women equally. We'll have to wait and see if the TV series will follow that same polygamous relationship. Rand presses Min about whether he'll return from the Eye of the World, but she doesn't answer, confirming what Rand already suspects. As dawn breaks, Egwene goes to Nynaeve's room to find that not only is she not there, but her bed hasn't been slept in. She waits for Nynaeve to return, and when the other woman does, Egwene gets this impish smile on her face, knowing full well where Nynaeve has been and with whom. When Perrin also joins them, we learn that all 3 have decided to go to the Eye of the World. When Lan comes to the door, we learn that Moiraine and Rand have left Fal Dara, and Moiraine has masked the bond so Lan can't follow them. He's wearing his sword, so my previous theory about going to his chambers was wrong. The episode ends with Moiraine and Rand entering this forest of spider-looking trees, the Great Blight. So I hope you've enjoyed this content. If you found it, and hope you found it informative, consider leaving a like or a comment down below. As always, thank you for watching, and may the light be with you.